months ago, on November 24th, clashes broke out in Uttar Pradesh's Sambhal when locals clashed with the police after a team went to survey the Jama Masjid on court's instructions. That violence brought back memories of similar clashes and communal riots which were common in Sambhal, is what many locals say, a few decades ago. That violence in November also brought about a renewed effort by the state government under Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath to find the truth. Since then, many temples, remnants of some others, were found in that last 1 month. The state administration began stumbling upon them during anti-encroachment drives or routine checks. One such temple, which was shut for 46 years, was opened to devotees recently. That prompted the state government to look into the cause of why the doors of this temple were shut for over 4 decades. In 1978, 184 people were killed and many rendered homeless. It triggered an exodus from Sambhal, and the investigation yielded very little in terms of justice for the victims, most of whom were from the majority community, which is why many of these families lived in fear. Some of them left Sambhal altogether, and temples like this one were shut for 4 decades. Now, some in Uttar Pradesh are keen on opening that file again, or at least review it, and maybe provide a semblance of justice and closure after 4 decades. Now, a month ago, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath in the State Assembly raked up this violence that took place in Sambhal on 29th of March in 1978. It lasted for several days. The situation was so severe that a curfew was imposed in the city for 2 months. A total of 184 people lost their lives, like I just pointed out. 169 cases were registered. Now, on 8th of January, Moradabad Commissioner asked the Sambhal District Magistrate to hand over all documents related to that unrest. Several old cases are likely to be reviewed based on certain complaints or certain requests that have been made. The investigation report is perhaps going to be compiled once all of those details come in and orders from the state government come in as well. Now, on 7th of January, Sambhal SP wrote a letter to the district magistrate informing him that Uttar Pradesh Legislative Council member had demanded a fresh review into these riots from back in 1978. The SP requested the district magistrate to designate an officer for a joint administrative inquiry, which will enable them to submit a comprehensive report if and when needed. The Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister has on many occasions made a pitch for Astha, especially in the last 1.5 months since 24th of November. On the 5th of December, the Chief Minister drew an analogy between Ayodhya, Sambhal. He brought in Bangladesh. He contended that atrocities were committed by Babur's men 500 years ago in Ayodhya. The same was being repeated in Sambhal, and the same pattern was being seen in Bangladesh. He reiterated that the DNA of these 3 instances was the same. Attacking the opposition, he said that some were fully prepared to break this country's unity. Then on December 15th, the Chief Minister on the floor of the House in the Assembly attacked his predecessors for suppressing the 1978 violence investigation. He reiterated that those responsible for violence were not punished and that the government deliberately shut down a temple 46 years ago. Referring to the recovery of the Bhasma Shankar temple, the Chief Minister said that a temple with Bajrang Bali idol didn't appear overnight. He sharpened his attack on the Samajwadi Party specifically, asking them why that no justice was meted out to the innocents that were killed in Sambhal without any fault of theirs. He said that it was a deliberate bid to silence the truth. Then on December 20th, he followed that attack up with a strongly made pitch to save Sanatan. The Chief Minister said that it was Sanatan Dharma which gave refuge to all faiths in times of crisis, but Hindus were not treated the same way, and that Bangladesh, Pakistan, Afghanistan, all of these incidents reflect the challenges that are meted out to Hindus, that temples were repeatedly targeted in places like Kashi, Ayodhya and now Sambhal. Then on January 8th this year, Yogi Adityanath reiterated that he was not against any religion and that he respects all places of worship. But he asked if a community site of prayers was broken down, then should that not be criticized? He also spoke about how Sambhal was Islamized, as those are his words, and all signs of Hindu faith were destroyed. They were covered up or concretized. Listen in to what the Chief Minister had to say last month on the floor of the House.
1978 से जो मंदिर आज निकल रहा है, 1978 से इन लोगों ने कभी खोलने नहीं दिया उस मंदिर को, जो आज बजरंगबली का मंदिर निकल रहा है, जो वहां पर आज 22 कुएं किसने बंद किए थे? इन 22 कुओं को भी वहां पे बंद किया गया, और वहां का माहौल इतना तनावपूर्ण किसने बनाया था? ये पत्थरबाज कौन थे? एक भी गिरफ्तारी बिना साक्ष्य के नहीं हो रही है। और याद रखना, जिसने पत्थरबाजी की होगी, जिसने माहौल खराब किया होगा, उसमें एक भी बचने वाला भी नहीं है। एक भी नहीं बचेगा।
Let's open this up now. Is there an attempt to polarize, like the opposition says, by the BJP, or is this merely an attempt to find the truth all these years later? Is there an attempt that is being made to give, like I said, a semblance of justice to the victims back from 1978? Let's open this up. Anila Singh, spokesperson of Uttar Pradesh BJP, will be joining us shortly. Faizan Kidwai, spokesperson of the Samajwadi Party, is with us. Vikram Singh, former DGP of Uttar Pradesh, and author Shubhrashtra is with us as well. Let me begin by asking Faizan Kidwai, if indeed there is an investigation or a reopening of an investigation in a case in which acquittals were made by a district court, acquittals which were never challenged in higher courts, why is that such a bad thing?
See, I fail to understand why Mr. Adityanath is doing what he's doing today, because even at that time there was a Janata Party government, both in centre and in state. Atal Bihari Vajpayee, Advani, they were part of the government. Advani himself was the Home Minister. I was just going through a data where Advani made a speech in the parliament about the happenings in Sambhal, and he said that the problem has been taken care of and people have been arrested, and he gave an entire detail of what the investigation was all about. And I just want to ask, BJP has been power in centre for 4 times, and this is the 5th time going on. In Uttar Pradesh 6 times with Mr. Adityanath himself. This is his 2nd time. What was he doing all these years? Was he sleeping? See, I know what exactly is happening, and people of UP also know. Yogi is trying to orchestrate a new sinister plan to create chaos and divide, because this is how Mr. Adityanath functions. If at all you want to open up cases, then we'll also open the Bulandshahr case. The rioting that happened in 2018, where SHO Subodh Kumar was killed by right-wingers. They were Bajrang Dal and BJP people. Bairaj riots, where BJP MLA himself, Suresh Singh, says, filed an FIR against 8 BJP leaders, says there was a plan to kill his son and make it a Hindu-Muslim issue. And then we all know who Pratap Sarangi is. He's a co-accused in the Australian missionary Graham Staines burning. Him and his children, innocent children, burned down, and this person is an MP from Bharatiya Janata Party. I mean, it's a kind of CV that you need to be in BJP. In Hathras, a 19-year-old Dalit girl was brutally gang raped by so-called high caste people, and there was no prosecution. Why? Because she's a Dalit and you don't consider Dalits as Hindus. And then there was the BHU girl. She was a Hindu who was raped by 3 BJP IT cell members. What about that? And Vikram Saini was the person who was convicted in the Muzaffarnagar riot case. New riot writer, his name was Bittu Bajrangi. He shared a state with Yogi Adityanath. What happened to Bilkis Bano? His rapist was set loose by Bharatiya Janata Party. So BJP is not in a position to give sermons. If you want to open cases, then let's open a case of...
So if all of these cases then do get opened, then so should the Sambhal case. Is that the argument you're trying to make? That if you're opening cases, don't open them selectively?
No, I'm not saying that. No, yes.
But then you wouldn't have an objection to this particular case being opened either.
Madam, nobody has an objection to a case being reopened. But after so many years, when BJP has been in power, BJP, like it was in power with its coalition partners back then in centre and in the state also. And what was Mr. Adityanath doing? See, this is a tactic of BJP, especially Mr. Adityanath. See, Mr. Modi sends a chadar to Ajmer Sharif, but Mr. Yogi Adityanath is planning all sorts of things to divide people. RSS chief says, don't look for siblings in every masjid, don't create chaos. There are certain people jo chunavi Hindu banna chahte hain, who want to use religion for their political benefits. This chaos which Mr. Adityanath is creating, this won't yield fruits for him in the longer run.
So this is a diversionary tactic, and Anila Singh is with us as well. Anila Singh, if you heard of what the Samajwadi Party was saying, that this is just selectively trying to whip up a certain kind of sentiment that the Chief Minister and the BJP in Uttar Pradesh seem to be doing. Why open this case up after 46 years? Also, since when it happened, there was a Janata Party government both at the centre and at the state. There has been a BJP government in Uttar Pradesh after that. Why suddenly after 46 years think of justice for those victims?
My Ram Ram to all, and why not? Even if Bharatiya Janata Party government was there and something happened and it was not properly investigated, then why shouldn't this investigation or inquiry happen now? It should. Why shouldn't be the truth prevail? Why shouldn't be the justice given to all those who lost their loved ones, who had to leave that place? Exodus happened. So many wrong things happened. Don't you think that justice should be given to them? It is better late than never. Who are these people who are saying why they are doing investigation now? They should do it because they know it very well. if fair investigation happens, then who will be the people behind the bars? They know it very well. So a political party in Uttar Pradesh who tries to show themselves as an advocate of one particular religious community, they are making ruckus out of it. What nonsense is this? They have always targeted Hindus in Uttar Pradesh. Now it is the high time. Fair game should be played.
But Anila Singh, that's the exact argument the opposition, both Samajwadi Party and Congress, make against the BJP. That you're fighting only for one community against one particular community.
What wrong we have done with other community? Can they cite one example? Can they cite
that there is a concerted effort to go after the minority community? Cases are being investigated with that intent is the allegation that the opposition makes. That you're trying to find these temples and remnants of temples and try and whip up a sentiment or keep the pot boiling when there has been peace in Sambhal for decades now.
So if anything has to be done, or if anything has to be said for the Sanatanis or for the Hindus, do you think that it is just to whip out the emotions? This country was divided on the lines of the religion. The word secular was never ever put in the preamble by B.R. Ambedkar ji and his team. Never ever.
Nonsense. What nonsense, madam?
You are talking nonsense and your party is talking nonsense all about.
Your
and the
knowledge
nonsense
is
has been
extremely
done by the
limited.
Samajwadi
Kindly
Party. All
read
these
the
years,
document.
do you
It
think we are
speaks
going
of
to
secularism. It has secularism spelled all over it.
Whatever you are going to
whether
say,
it was
you are
put in
going
words
to
or not.
abuse and accuse
The
Hindus, and
44th
we are going to
Amendment
sit here and
happened
listen
from your government. When the 44th Amendment happened, Atal Bihari Vajpayee and Advani were part of the government. They changed a lot of things but didn't touch secularism. Why? Because they also knew secularism is the core component of the Constitution of India. Your knowledge is very limited. I'm sorry to
Okay,
say.
Faizan Kidwai and Anila Singh, let me get in here. Vikram Singh and Shubhrashtra are also patiently waiting. Vikram Singh, I'll come to you, but I just want to ask Shubhrashtra this. Do you feel like the BJP and many within the BJP feel... Anila Singh, just a second, please. Anila Singh, just a second, I'll come back to you. Shubhrashtra, as far as this particular incident is concerned, this particular riot is concerned, and many more that followed from there on, Yogi Adityanath, the BJP believed that there was a concerted effort to try and keep that truth hidden, to try and keep what exactly transpired hidden. Even in the assembly, there were attempts made to not publicly talk about it for years after 1978. Even at the central level in parliament, attempts were blocked from it being raised. Do you think then there was a concerted effort? And if yes, then what is wrong if it is being talked about even if it's 46 years later?
Thank you, Poonam. Thank you for having me on your show. And prima facie, I don't find anything wrong with this controversy or issue, however you would like to frame it, coming to the fore and people participating in a public discussion on the same. Now, to the charge that this issue was there with the Janata Party government and the BJP or the quote-unquote right-wing parties could have done something about it, let me make it very clear that every generation of politics comes with its own set of affirmations, assertions and aggression. If the BJP was not comfortable doing it then, and if it is comfortable doing it today, I think it's for the people and people's mandate to decide whether it's a justified issue or not. Poonam, I would also like to point out that there were a lot of things with the Samajwadi Party and the Samajwadi ideology was not comfortable with during the time of, JP and Karpuri Thakur. But they are, pretty strong in their assertion for that matter of the communal pandering of a secular ideology. And I think the JP or Lohia or Karpuri Thakur were not comfortable with it. But are we not making peace with it? Are people not supporting the Samajwadi Party on that kind of politics? Yes, they are. So then why should the counter polarization or why should an ideology of a counter sentiment not be supported, asserted, or for that matter discussed without, a raised eyebrow? Now, I come from a school of thought which very fiercely believes in freedom of expression, whether it is that which comes from the right wing or which comes from the left wing also. So let there be a battle of ideologies and clashes, and let's see what comes out of it. Now, with respect to the specific issue that we are discussing at hand today, Poonam, in Sambhal, if there is a law and order situation, then of course the Yogi government will have to take stock of it, because at the end of the day, it's the BJP which is in power at the state. Now, when it will take certain actions to curb the curb communal tensions, not just in Sambhal but in other areas as well, and if the Samajwadi Party feels that a specific community is being targeted, they are also well within their rights to flag it up. But then it is also within the freedom of expression of this government and of people who support this government to come out and say that, well, it is really a law and order issue and not a communal one. So at the end of the day, my point is very simple. Let there be a battle of ideas. Let there be a battle of contestation of various claims. Let's see which wins. It's a democracy at the end of the day. If Faizan Kidwai is being quote unquote allowed to speak, it is because it's a democracy. It is because we are no longer, living in an emergency like that of 1975. It is also because this government, despite all the charges on it for, censorship and so on and so forth, has allowed all kinds of, conversations, including venomous ones, to continue. So I think let's respect the fact that we are in a functioning democracy. And it is okay to have fierce battles and fierce contestations on one issue or the other, as long as we are within the ambit of law and as long as we are respecting the mandate.
As long as law and order does not go out of hand, like we saw in November in Sambhal, it was a court-mandated survey that was being undertaken, and yet we saw the kind of rioting, stone pelting that took place, the kind of mobilization that happened. But Vikram Singh, speaking of the 1978 riots and the investigation, if there is a reopening of the case like demands are being made, one of the contentions of the opposition also is that this is being raked up after far too many years. What is the kind of investigation that is going to happen here? What is the kind of evidence that you're going to gather? Because all of it is in cold storage now. The trail has gone cold far too long ago.
Poonamji, the law does not recognize the time bar to inquire and investigate any crime. It may be 40 years, it may be 50 years, it may be 100 years. The law does not recognize any time bar. That is not time bar. Now, to your question, it was a devious riot instigated by a Muslim League leader, Manzoor Shafi, who instigated in a very devious manner. And what happened was that almost 200 people of the majority of the Hindu community, they were killed and there was an exodus. This is nothing short of a genocide. And to say that it is no longer required to be investigated, I fail to understand. But to your second part of the question, will any evidence be available? There are survivors. There are some officers who would be available, and I'm sure that at least one senior officer is very much alive, and maybe his police counterpart may not be. But the documentary evidence is there. The number of arrests that were made, if at all were made, and the conviction, how many witnesses turned hostile, and why did the government did not go into appeal, and what were the file notings? They are very much a part of the documentary evidence. And any investigation, if there is logical and there is moral ground to pursue the case, I think so be it, and such important matters need to be pursued so that we don't repeat the mistakes that were committed earlier, and then we should learn from our history. This was a tragedy that could have been avoided. But yes, Manzoor Shafi and the other co-conspirators instigated a riot and ensured the exodus of a particular community so that the evidence was overwhelmingly concealed. It's a different matter that the evidence came out. I would say something like what Tagore has said, the unwelcome truth that has trickled out of the gagged silence. The unwelcome truth that has trickled out of the gagged silence, and that truth is now, should be an eye-opener for all, and I think the government would do well to investigate it very incisively. And all such investigations are monitored, would be subject to judicial scrutiny. It is not that what the government would do would get away if it is illegal or immoral.
Faizan Kidwai, is the opposition because the truths that may come out would be too uncomfortable to hear? Is that why?
Not at all, madam. No. See, the thing is, let the government change, and then if we were in power and we would have reopened the Gujarat riot case, or we would have opened the rioting that happened post the demolition of Babri Masjid, I am sure these very people would have shouted and said that we are trying to politicize it. Mr. Vikram Singh, would you please tell me, would you support if the government which is going to come later on, it reopens the Gujarat riot case or the post Babri Masjid demolition case? Madam, I just also want to tell you that it was after the Delhi riots where innocent Sikhs were massacred. It was one Mr. Nanaji Deshmukh in his article, Moments of Soul Searching, he gave a clean chit to the writers, even said the Sikhs should have apologized to the writers and they wouldn't have been massacred, something of that nature, and actually gave a clean chit to those people. And who's this person? He's the same person who has been given a Bharat Ratna by none other than Narendra Modi's government. So Narendra Modi, like the killer of the Christian missionary, was made an MP, the killer of Sikhs was given a Bharat Ratna, and the killer of Muslims, they are also promote it. So basically, Bharatiya Janata Party is anti-minority, no matter whether you are Muslim, Hindu, Christian, or Dalit. Their hatred for Dalits, their hatred for minorities is evident in the way they are functioning. And to Anila Singh, you were talking about how much BJP is doing for Hindus. I'm going to tell you, आप लोगों ने सबसे ज़्यादा हिंदुओं को ठगा है. You just go and see the Times of India report where it quotes the Ayodhya Development Authority, where your Mr. Ved Prakash, an MLA from your party, Mr. Ved Prakash, former Milkipur MLA Gorakhnath, and City Mayor Rishikesh Upadhyay, they were convicted of illegal transactions in the temple town, assuming that after the court verdict there'll be boom in the land prices. उनको उस बारे में उनका नाम आया था, चोरी करी थी. और उसके साथ अयोध्या 13,000 acre land which was
But Mr. Kidwai,
kept
if what
for,
you're
madam,
saying...
just let me complete, madam, let me complete this. 13,000 acre of land which was kept for Indian Army was denotified by Mr. Adityanath and it was made available to the rich industrialists. वो वाले industrialists जो एक योगा सिखाते हैं और एक जिनके लिए आप लोग रोज टीवी में लड़ने आते हैं. तो आप ना हिंदू के हैं, ना मुसलमान के, ना सिख के, ना ईसाई के, ना गरीब के. आप सिर्फ अपनी महत्वाकांक्षाओं के गुलाम हैं. आप अपनी महत्वाकांक्षाओं के लिए हिंदुस्तान को तबाह करना चाहते हैं, हिंदुस्तान को बर्बाद करना चाहते हैं. जब तक अखिलेश यादव है, जब तक इंडिया गठबंधन है, होने नहीं देंगे. कोशिश पूरी करेंगे, जनता साथ देगी.
Sure, cases can be reopened, like you said, when you come to power. If you want to open a certain case, please go ahead and reopen it if that is what it requires.
Foul, madam,
and they'll be well within their rights, like you are. You are well within your rights to raise objections, but anybody
that matters.
And that intention of yours is being questioned as well.
See,
if there is anything that is not by the book as far as this investigation goes, or if that is found that it was that particular government by the Janata Party that was found not good enough to have taken this to the logical conclusion, दूध का दूध पानी पर पानी हो जाएगा. Wouldn't that actually vindicate your stand?
I'll just tell you one thing. See, you might not be too comfortable saying this on television, but I am sure once the cameras are off, even you, while discussing with your fellow journalists, you know what Mr. Adityanath is doing. I'm sure you are also very candid about it. See, Mr. Adityanath is trying to divide the society on communal lines. This is what BJP at large is doing. His only aim now is to be the next contender for the
I don't know what kind of motive you're trying to attribute to my private conversations or to Yogi Adityanath or to the BJP, but Anila,
it's not about you, I'm just saying.
Sure, but Anila Singh, the allegation that the Samajwadi Party and the Congress both make against the BJP is that you are being selective as far as cases go. They are only against the minority community. In this case as well, like Vikram Singh was pointing out, this was a protest, a rebellion, whatever you may call it, back in 1978 that was started by one particular member of the minority community that flared up into a riot that killed over hundreds.
Firstly, Poonam, you very well said that who can stop and who will stop you if you want to start an investigation in 2042 or maybe much more ahead when Samajwadi Party comes once again in the power in Uttar Pradesh. Because in coming years, we do not see them coming in the power. Come on, sit calmly.
Okay, let her finish. She didn't interrupt you. Let her finish, please.
Yeah. And secondly, let me tell you, if I talk about the Bharatiya Janata Party, and especially if I talk about my chief minister, Yogi Adityanath ji, whom we call Maharaj ji lovingly, he doesn't hate anybody. If you would have known the Sanskriti, Bharatiya Sanskriti, Sanatan Sanskriti, you wouldn't have used this word hate. Alright. So if there is a sadhu, there is a sant, mahant, rishi, muni, they don't have this word hate in their dictionary.
Madam, you answered.
But yes, they have to be clear to all, and this is what Yogi Adityanath. Come on, sit calmly. I was not interjecting in between. You are rattled, you are baffled. That is why you are speaking in between, sir. You do not have facts. That is why you are trying to holla. Let me tell you, if you see the social schemes implemented in Uttar Pradesh, maximum beneficiaries are from the community to which you belong to. And you are saying that Yogi Adityanath ji has hatred for one particular community. You are saying that Yogi Adityanath ji has got hatred for the Dalits. What crap you are talking about without any facts? You should have
facts. Let me read
okay, let's not digress, Anila Singh and Faizan Kidwai. The discussion here at the point of contention is about an investigation into a case that's not a minor one. We're talking about riots that claimed lives of about 184 people, that named over 1,000 people as accused, many of whom were exonerated by local courts, and that conviction was by successive governments, not challenged in any higher court. Vikram Singh, do you find that strange?
Absolutely
I just
strange
wanted to
and
add one thing.
unconvincing to say the least. And to Mr. Faizan's point, I would say just one quick point. There are those who are past masters in lodging false cases, even if it's against the UP, STF, the former DGPs, or also withdrawing the cases of anti-national elements. They are past masters in fabrication of evidence. Well, it is your prerogative to lodge a further number of cases, and it is for the courts to decide. And the last point is killing of any innocent human being is a crime against humanity, and the person who's responsible for that needs to be taken to task, irrespective of caste, community, and political affiliation. Poonamji.
Absolutely. Justice and closure is important for every single person. That is the cornerstone of our democracy, and justice needs to be seen, justice needs to be heard as well as it's being done. But Shubrashta, you had a point to make. Last 30 seconds, please.
Poonam, just a small rider. I think we should stop assuming that people in this country, common people in this country, are so gullible that any political party, any political ideology, or any political leader is going to come up and divide us. We have a collective consciousness, we have a collective conscience, which is very aware and very cognizant of what we are up to, what politics we decide on. I think political parties should get out of this, this aggressive ghamand. I'm not getting the right word right now. That they know best and that they are the ones who are writing future for us.
The voter knows best, and the voter has decided every time it casts the ballot. But healthy discussions are important in a democracy, and so are reinvestigations if that is the need of the hour for justice to be meted out to victims of over 184 people. Whether that happens or not in this particular case, we'll have to watch out. But is this a bid to polarize? Maybe not. This is just about justice, and that's really the message at least the BJP or the UP government is trying to send. I leave it there. I thank you all for joining us here on this edition and sharing your perspective. We are slipping into a quick break here on The Right Stand, but after that we'll get you a tug of war that's happening between the state government of Karnataka and the centre. This is over the Ayushman Bharat scheme. We'll get you those details.
Horrific stampede unfolded at Tirupati near the token issuance counter. Now, this has claimed the life of over 6 people yesterday. Over 40 pilgrims were injured and are being treated at the Tirupati Ruya Hospital, where protests have erupted by the grieving relatives. Now, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu has ordered relief measures to be implemented at the site to ensure proper care. Now, Prime Minister Modi has also expressed grief over the incident and said that the government is assisting the victims. And also the former Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy has reacted, saying order must be restored on ground. I'm now joined by CNN News 18's Payal Mehta. Payal, we are in fact getting to know that Chandrababu Naidu is all set to visit Tirupati today. What has been his reaction to the entire incident?
Well, to begin with, Sharon, he's expressed, immense grief and, has expressed his shock at what has transpired in Tirupati last week at the ticket counter, where we are given to understand essentially when the gates were opened, there was a rush of the devotees who wanted to go inside, and that actually resulted in a stampede. Having said that, since the relief measures are already on, the injured have been rushed to hospital and are undertaking treatment. Chandrababu Naidu himself will be visiting the location at about 12 o'clock today, and he'll be meeting officials from the TTC board and also visiting the hospital to meet the injured. And that is something which is going to happen, but he's also going to be ordering a probe because such an incident is not acceptable. The occasion of, this Chaturdashi is extremely significant, and people do understand that there is a lot of rush at the temple premises during this time. So crowd management should have been better done. And where did this go wrong? He's also going to be meeting the board officials. He'll be doing a review at the location as well. So obviously a most unfortunate thing panning out last night, with about 6 people being killed and several others being injured. And everybody is monitoring the situation. The health minister has also requested that doctors should assist those people who are injured and let them leave from hospital only after they are fully recovered.
All right. I'm also, in fact, joined by PV Ramanna, who is Associate Editor with News 18 Telugu. Payal, I request you to please stay with us. Let me now go to PV Ramanna. PV Ramanna, when we talk about the entire incident and when we talk about the crowd management in Tirupati, it has always been appreciated. What really went wrong this time that this unfortunate incident happened?
So, in regard to this tragic incident which happened yesterday at Tirumala, the main reason for this is the mismanagement of the crowd, in fact. So actually for this Vaikunta Dwara Darshana, which will happen on 10th of this month, that is a Vaikunta Ekadashi, a lot of crowd was expected, in fact. Almost the temple authorities expected that there will be crowd around 1.2 lakh to 1.5 lakh people every day for 10 days, in fact. So accordingly, they wanted to make the arrangements and to issue the tokens from today morning. There were set up some counters in the different places of Tirumala and Tirupati. In the temple, in the ticket issuing counter where the Ramanayadu school was there, there was one ticket issuing point was there. Unfortunately, there were almost 4,000 to 5,000 people were gathered to get the tokens from that particular place. So unfortunately, what happened? One devotee who came for the darshan was sick at the time. The temple authority who is managing the health kind of a things, that doctor went to treat, open the gates to treat that patient, in fact. So suddenly the people who was waiting, who gathered there for the tokens, was felt that there is already issued the tickets. At that time, all the people together to take the tokens, in fact, to stay in the queue line. So in that incident, the entire this tragic incident was happened. At the spot, 5 people were died, and another person is very seriously injured and is taking treatment in the Ria hospital in Tirupati. So all the rescue operations is in place. Already, Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu expressed his grief and anger also on the temple authorities while expecting lot of people to that Vaikunta Ekadashi. That why don't you making proper arrangements? So today is expected to visit Tirumala also to
Welcome back. The Ayushman Bharat Senior Citizen Scheme is yet to take off in Karnataka because of standoff between the state government and the centre over cost sharing. Karnataka argues that under the current Ayushman Bharat scheme for BPL card holders, the centre is spending only 30% on the scheme. The BJP argued that instead of the state government politicizing the issue, they should try and engage effectively with the centre if there is one, but not deprive citizens of this particular facility. The state government further argued that it's spending 70% because the centre identifies beneficiaries based on an outdated data from 2011, the census back when, where the state government has updated its data through ration cards. The centre said that a good scheme that helps thousands should not be stalled like the Karnataka government is doing. The state government argued that centre is providing only 1,052 rupees per family, while what is required to give to them is much higher. The centre said that any sensible government would not try to stall such a good scheme but come to the talking table and find a solution. The Karnataka government argued that it's spending more than 2,500 rupees per family and not the 1,000 rupees that the central government is giving to them. The centre urged that better sense must prevail over the Karnataka government so that they implement the scheme. The state government cited that the scheme is resulting in a huge financial burden on them. Hence, it did not take off in Karnataka. That's the only reason, they say. The centre has countered that, though. They contend that the benefits to senior citizens should be on priority while implementing schemes in the state and not necessarily the kind of guarantees that have been given out by the state government. Maybe that's the burden, is what the BJP says. Karnataka's citizens, meanwhile, unfortunately, have been caught in this tug-of-war between the centre and the state. The centre has now sought a report from the Karnataka Health Authority after a 72-year-old Bengaluru man allegedly died by suicide after being denied medical benefits under the Ayushman Bharat scheme. In another case, a man was denied scheme benefits after he was hospitalized for over a month. His daughter says that when she tried to avail that free treatment under Ayushman Bharat Senior Citizen Scheme, she was told that the scheme is yet to be operationalized in the state because there is no particular order or directive that has come to the fore from the state government. So the hospital refused to give them any benefits.
It is supposed to be 60% central government, 40% state government. In fact, the way it is implemented in Karnataka, 75% is government of Karnataka, 25% is government of India. Should not be that government of India announces a scheme and we end up footing the bill. and they're taking the credit.
Forget about this scheme. In the previous schemes also, the health program implementation is very poor in Karnataka, whether it is central scheme or a state scheme.
Sudha Halkai, spokesperson of Karnataka BJP, is with us on this broadcast. Atabi Shivarna, spokesperson of the Karnataka Congress, is with us as well. And Mr. Shivarna, let me begin by asking you, would you agree that there is a cost that the voter, that the common man in Karnataka seems to be facing because of this tug of war between the centre and the state?
See, there is no tug of war between the centre and the state. The Honourable Health Minister has already clarified that he has written to the Union Ministry. There's some clarifications that are required because they are backtracking on the issue time and again. Now, Ayushman Bharat is a scheme that we all welcome, and it is necessary for the healthcare sector, and we're not opposing it. We want it to be implemented in accordance with law. Now, the issues that we are facing, and as you rightly mentioned, there are twofold factors. Now, the scheme is due to be implemented on the basis of a 2011 population census. This is the first fundamental mistake that the central government is doing. You cannot try and implement a scheme based on outdated numbers. You have to acknowledge that there has been an increase in population, there has been migration for over 14 years now. And based on this outdated population census, what is the government doing? They're allocating certain funds. That funds is not relevant at all. You must understand that the patient turnout or the persons who come under this coverage is much more. With the increase in population or migration, there is an increase in eligible beneficiaries, and the state cannot reject all these claims. You must understand the plight of the centre. Now, the financial burden that you impose on us, and that too arbitrarily, it is an admitted and undisputed fact that the government of India proposed at the time of the inception of the scheme. They proposed that we will foot 60% of the money and the state would pay only 40%. Now the government of India is paying only 1,065 rupees per family, whereas the state is spending 2,600 or 3,000 per family. Now this is almost 75% that we are footing as the state government. This is simply
Has
not...
the state government raised this since the inception of the scheme with the central government?
Yes.
Has there been any communication from the central government to you?
A month ago, a letter was addressed by the minister here, by the health minister, Mr. Dinesh Gundurao, and there has been no clarification. We are open to any kind of debate, discussion, and we are also, I'm making this clear to all your viewers, we want to implement the scheme. But there must be some sort of clarification or a rationale or a common ground that both parties meet at. We're asking for two things: rationalize the data, and two, proportional ratio of funding to be revert it to the 60-40 funding. We have no problem.
Sure, but you say, that people are not caught in this tug of war and that you're waiting for clarification. But until you wait for that clarification, that diktat from the state government or the directive to these hospitals has not gone out. So people are caught in the midst of this because they are unable to avail of a scheme that has been widely advertised, that they perhaps know of their relatives who have availed of it in other states, but they can't do it. But Sudha Halkai, let me get you in. It's the central government that seems to be going back on its end of the bargain, is what the Congress alleges. That you promised us one thing, we agreed to implement it, but now you're not delivering on that promise. You're asking us to bear the expenses that we never agreed to, says the Congress.
Poonam, the matter of fact is that the Karnataka Congress government is the most inefficient, incapable and insensitive government in the complete country. The same scheme was implemented by our government just 1.5 years back, before the Congress government had come, and we were given the best award for the implementation of the Ayushman Yojana in the complete country. Understand, we were awarded as the best state for the implementation, and it was not much of population difference must be there, I think, and it's not of much gap what we are talking about. It's just previous government of ours. The thing is, नाच ना आए आंगन टेढ़ा. इन लोगों को नाच आता नहीं है और आंगन टेढ़ा बोल कर देते हैं ये लोग. This is the same scenario everywhere, and it's not only this scheme. When it comes to the implementation of the schemes for the pregnant women, the 5 schemes which were supposed to be implemented for the pregnant women are the percentage is only 16%. I repeat, it is only 16% in Karnataka, which has been implemented by the state government for the the central benefits which is supposed to be given to the pregnant women, and because of that there is the highest death of the pregnant women, and maternal mortality death is there, and the infant death is there, because the schemes for the infants is also not reaching to the poor people. The people who are suffering today is the common man and the poor people. These people are so insensitive that because they are biased, because their confrontation with the central government, because they don't want the central schemes to reach to the people, they give one or the other reason. And today they give, why they are not implementing it when we could do it, and we could do it at, the most remarkable way. Most remarkable way we could do it, and now they are not doing it. They say they'll give some lame excuses. They can have one or the other scams. They can increase the price hikes. They can do. And my government has given the best medical and health schemes in the complete 10 years of tenure. The central government, they forget about doing implementing this. Dreaming about giving such schemes to the poorest people. They cannot even implement it. Such inefficient, such incapable, and such inhuman Congress government
Mr.
is there in
Shivanna, when you
Karnataka
talk
today.
about funds and that you are being made to pay money that you didn't agree to, that the centre is not holding its end of the bargain, is it perhaps because the Congress government in Karnataka overpromised its share of funds as far as its guarantees go? Because there are other opposition ruled states that have also implemented Ayushman Bharat, Kerala being one of them, which is also a state that is wanting more funds from the central government.
No, not
But
at
they
all.
seem to have implemented it just fine.
See, the issue is not with, we are ready to implement the scheme, but please don't backtrack from what you promised. And we're talking about the guarantees. Who are the guarantees for? We have allocated 52,000 crores in our annual budget for the guarantees. We're utilizing that specific funds and it's reaching well. At the same time, we're
The 6th and 7th guarantee for Karnataka today.
One second, madam. I did not
No,
interrupt you at
Metro,
all.
I can't keep
I gave you the
because
courtesy.
whatever,
I gave you the
guarantees
courtesy.
you are giving. The mothers are dying today. The infants are dying today. The farmers are dying today. The officers are committing suicide. The contractors
Okay,
are
Sudha Halkai, let him finish, please. I'll give you your time to rebut. Let him
Your
finish.
government has given to the people of my Karnataka.
Sudha
Aren't
Halkai,
you
let him
ashamed?
finish, please. I'll give you your time to rebut. Mr. Shivanna, go ahead.
I cannot engage in a debate where I'm being heckled at.
Go ahead,
Please
Mr.
have
Shivanna.
the courtesy of the debate. So, see, the guarantees are for the people. It is being implemented at a wide scale, at record time. The people of the country, people of the state are, applauding us. Women of the state are applauding us, except for the opposition who crib at every single opportunity they get. The people are really appreciating us. The result is reflected in the by-elections as well. Now, insofar as this scheme is concerned, and I have to rebut what Dr. Sudha Halkai just said. She said the most unscientific thing, that too being a doctor. She said there is a meager percent change in the population from 2011 to 2024.
I'm not talking about 2011. I'm talking about 2023. Sorry, no, 2023 to 2024 I'm talking. We have
Ayushman Bharat,
57
madam, please
lakh
get your facts
beneficiaries
right.
have been
The
given
scheme
benefits
Ayushman
because of
Bharat
Ayushman
is being
Bharat in
implemented
Karnataka.
on the basis
38
of the
lakhs women have
2011
benefited from that.
population
And today you
census.
say there
This
is
is a
not
matter
even
of
data.
record. Please,
Mister, there is
please
no
check.
data.
You're on
There is
national
no data
television. Don't make a
Ayushman
fool out of
Bharat
yourself.
beneficiaries
Please, you're
in
on national
23-24.
television. You can ask
We have been awarded as the best state for that.
You can
people
ask their
are
research team.
incapable so much.
The
Aren't you ashamed of the
implementation-
maternity death what is taking place in Karnataka
implementation
today?
of the Ayushman Bharat
You are not
scheme
giving,
is
there
on the
is
basis
there
of
is
the
no good equipment
2011
in the
population
hospitals.
census.
Substandard
And there is
drugs
no
are there.
meager
No
change in
required staffs
population.
are
There is a
there.
widespread
On the
population.
posters.
Sure,
they
so
can
it's
say-
based on data. Sure, I'll take your point there, Mr. Shivanna, that it's based on data which is not in proportion to the funds that you're expected to spend.
Senior citizens, they've
Okay, I
gone-
request both of
they've
you to
come
let me
into
have
the-
a word in, please. But Mr. Shivanna, my question to you is this, that you said that your guarantees are benefiting the people of the state, they are being lauded. But there are also people who are suffering because this scheme has been stalled in the state. Would you agree or not? Are those people not the voters of Karnataka, or are those people that don't matter? Mr. Shivanna?
Just a second. Please don't mind. Please don't mind. Just a second.
Some uninterrupted time.
Just
I will be able to
just a
speak.
second,
I
just a
believe
second,
that-
Dr. Halkai, I'll come to
I
you.
believe the question was directed to me.
Mr. Shivanna, go ahead.
Yeah, please give me the courtesy. Now, see, we are asking only for two things. We have no. I'm reiterating that we have no problem in implementation of the scheme. Please rationalize the data. You are using, it is an admitted fact that you are using the 2011 population census to roll out the
Sure,
country.
but what
If you are
happens?
doing that, why
Sure,
you
but
do-
Mr.
why you
Shivarna,
releasing
but
only 1,000
Mr.
people
Shivarna,
and
you're not
give us
answering my
proportional
question.
ratio as what you promised.
So
Give us-
I take your
give us the
point.
60%.
Mr. Shivarna,
We
I
will
take
give
your
you the
point that maybe the
40%.
central government is not holding up its end of
No,
the bargain
listen,
and they are
we
not
cannot-
responding
we
to you.
cannot-
But how
we
can you
cannot
deny
be
that people are suffering while that tug of war happens between the centre and the state?
It is precisely the center that needs to be blamed for this. Why don't you give the 60% that you actually promised? What is the
Sudha Halkai, people are suffering,
No, not
and I
only
want
should
both
we
of you,
put
and
your
I want
bill, you
both
also
of you
take
to
credit.
listen to
You want them
listen to
give
this
some
daughter of an
Ayushman Bharat
87-year-old
service
who
that
had
is
to suffer. Mr. Shivarna and Dr. Sudha Halkai, I want you to listen to this daughter of an 87-year-old who was in the hospital for over a month, were denied any sort of medical benefits. She today is coming out and talking about how both the centre and the state need to get their act together, because that's what the voter of any state of this country really wants. Listen to that and I'll get you back in, Dr. Halkai.
In December 13, my father got admitted to a private hospital. And when I went and showed this Vayavandana card that I have this, Arogya Mitra desk in the hospital said that only with the implementation of this Ayushman Vayavandana card is not still in practice. Ayushman Bharat Vayavandana card is a boon for all the senior citizens. So I request humbly to the state and the central government to get some guidelines very quickly on urgent basis.
Sudha Halkai, urgent basis is what is required.
That's
The
what we are
state
telling.
government,
No,
but the state government said, but the state government has, Miss Halkai, hear me out please. But Mr. Halkai, hear me out. The state government says, we've written to you over a month ago saying that we cannot hold up this deal because you are going back on your word. And the centre hasn't responded, says the Congress party. So who exactly is
Poonam, before
this
one
woman,
second,
this
I'll tell you.
victim,
One
if
second.
you will, or anybody else in the state of Karnataka supposed to go to? The centre says go to the state says go to the centre.
Poonam, it is my party taking it from our honorable PM to our previous government in Karnataka who want to reach to the poorest of the poor people, and we have reached to the poorest of the poor people. After 75 years of independence, all the schemes which are reaching to the poor people, it is given by our government, and it is done by the people of no.
Okay, now let her, Mr. Shivarna, now let her speak, please.
And the guarantees, and what they're talking about the guarantees, we are not against the guarantees, but guarantees at the cost of what, Poonam? At the cost of the pockets of the common people. Today they have hiked the electricity charges, the milk, the alcohol, the land, the stamp duty, and again they've the bus fares have been increased by 15%, and now they're going to increase the water, again the milk, and so many other things at the cost of the common people. What guarantees are they talking about? Today the suicides, the suicides and the murders. I will call the death of the maternal and the infants as the sponsored murders by the Karnataka Health Ministry today because of the substandard, the ringer lactate. They knew it is it has endotoxins in it, and they have kept the same batches of the linger lactate.
Sure, but let's not digress here. My question, Dr. Halkai, to you was specific.
I'm talking about health only. Health only. My government, we have reached to the poorest poor people, and today I'll tell you the worst scenario is the post-mortem report of the death of the pregnant woman. They have given, the post-mortem report is replaced and given, it is given of some infant. And today I had to go and do the press meet every day, being a doctor, being
and
in
all
opposition.
Of these
it is so sad that we have to come on education for every day.
Sure.
Aren't they, not even single
sure, that there are
able
lapses on part of the state government maybe, and that need to be investigated.
Not
but in
lapses,
this
complete lapses,
sure, in this particular case, if the central government needs to make the first step, go back to the drawing table, speak to the government of Karnataka and get the ratio right for the sake of the people of Karnataka. Will the central government take that first step? That's the question I asked you.
My government will definitely take actions and come forward, whatever to do the help the needy people. It is these people are having a back foot. They don't want the central schemes to reach to the poor people. They don't want to go to Delhi and do discussions. They can have this, dinner parties every day to discuss about the power exchange. And
we really do hope that conversation happens from both sides, irrespective of whether it happens in Delhi or in Bangalore or over the phone. That's irrespective. But we hope that conversation happens and there is one particular common ground that's found for the sake of the voter, for the sake of the common man in Karnataka who's voted irrespective of their political ideologies, who's wanted to be a part of this democracy, who's wanted to be a part of this country, who's wanted to be felt like they actually matter. And that's what really we want from our politicians. I have to leave it there. I thank you all for joining us here on this edition. It is time for a quick break on the right stand, but on the other side, we'll get you a CNN News 18 investigation, and this is coming up ahead of the Delhi elections, which are just around the corner. There's a major crackdown on 2 websites that are running fake document racket, specifically of Aadhaar cards, voter IDs, of birth certificates. This basically makes illegals coming in from Bangladesh specifically legal in our country. They're living here not just in Delhi but across the country. But in Delhi, we try to find out what exactly is the problem, how they're coming in, and what a worry that could spell not just for the Delhi government but for the rest of the country as well. Do stay tuned for that exclusive investigation.
Horrific stampede unfolded at Tirupati near the token issuance counter. Now, this has claimed the life of over 6 people yesterday. Over 40 pilgrims were injured and are being treated at the Tirupati Ruya Hospital, where protests have erupted by the grieving relatives. Now, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu has ordered relief measures to be implemented at the site to ensure proper care. Now, Prime Minister Modi has also expressed grief over the incident and said that the government is assisting the victims. And also the former Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy has reacted, saying order must be restored on ground. I'm now joined by CNN News 18's Payal Mehta. Payal, we are in fact getting to know that Chandrababu Naidu is all set to visit Tirupati today. What has been his reaction to the entire incident?
Well, to begin with, Sharon, he's expressed, immense grief and, has expressed his shock at what has transpired in Tirupati last week at the ticket counter, where we are given to understand essentially when the gates were opened, there was a rush of the devotees who wanted to go inside, and that actually resulted in a stampede. Having said that, since the relief measures are already on, the injured have been rushed to hospital and are undertaking treatment. Chandrababu Naidu himself will be visiting the location at about 12 o'clock today, and he'll be meeting officials from the TTC board and also visiting the hospital to meet the injured. And that is something which is going to happen, but he's also going to be ordering a probe because such an incident is not acceptable. The occasion of, this Chaturdashi is extremely significant, and people do understand that there is a lot of rush at the temple premises during this time. So crowd management should have been better done. And where did this go wrong? He's also going to be meeting the board officials. He'll be doing a review at the location as well. So obviously a most unfortunate scene panning out last night, with about 6 people being killed and several others being injured. And everybody is monitoring the situation. The health minister has also requested that doctors should assist those people who are injured and let them leave from hospital only after they are fully recovered.
All right. I'm also, in fact, joined by PV Ramanna, who is Associate Editor with News 18 Telugu. Payal, I request you to please stay with us. Let me now go to PV Ramanna. PV Ramanna, when we talk about the entire incident and when we talk about the crowd management in Tirupati, it has always been appreciated. What really went wrong this time that this unfortunate incident happened?
So, in regard to this tragic incident which happened yesterday at Tirumala, the main reason for this is the mismanagement of the crowd, in fact. So actually for this Vaikunta Dwara Darshana, which will happen on 10th of this month, there is a Vaikunta Ekadashi, a lot of crowd was expected, in fact. Almost the temple authorities expected that there will be crowd around 1.2 lakh to 1.5 lakh people every day for 10 days, in fact. So accordingly, they wanted to make the arrangements and to issue the tokens from today morning. There were set up some counters in the different places of Tirumala and Tirupati. In the temple, in the ticket issuing counter where the Ramanaidu school was there, there was one ticket issuing point was there. Unfortunately, there were almost 4,000 to 5,000 people were gathered to get the tokens from that particular place. So unfortunately, what happened? One devotee who came for the darshan was sick at the time. The temple authority who is managing the health kind of a things, that doctor went to treat, open the gates to treat that patient, in fact. So suddenly the people who was waiting, who gathered there for the tokens, was felt that there is already issued the tickets. At that time, all the people together take the tokens, in fact, to stay in the queue line. So in that instance, this tragic incident was happened. At the spot, 5 people were died, and another person is very seriously injured and is taking treatment in the Ria hospital in Tirupati. So all the rescue operations is in place. Already Chief Minister Chandrababu Naidu expressed his grief and an anger also on the temple authorities while expecting a lot of people to that Vaikunta Ekadashi.
Recently, Delhi police got 2 websites blocked. One was called Janta Prints, another Bharat Seva. Now, these websites allowed people to print fake voter IDs, Aadhaar cards, 10th and 12th class certificates, even other documents that are required to avail government services. And that too at throwaway prices of rupees 5, 10, 15, 2, 3, at the max 20 or 30 rupees. This is how one of the websites looked before it was banned by Delhi police. And according to Delhi police data, before being blocked, these 2 websites have printed around 3 lakh birth certificates, over 20,000 Aadhaar cards, 10,000 voter IDs, more than 3,000 class 10th and class 12th certificates, and over 3,500 PAN cards. But why these staggering figures have got the security agencies alarmed? It is because all these 3 lakh people who have obtained fake birth certificates through such websites can now easily get made their Aadhaar cards and then open bank accounts, get a PAN card or even a voter ID.
This Pandora's box was opened during an investigation into a murder in Delhi's Sangam Vihar last year. It led to the arrest of 4 people, all of them Bangladeshis, living illegally in Delhi. Fake documents recovered from them prompted the police to probe the larger nexus. Till date, police have made over a dozen arrests in this case, and at least 7 Bangladeshis have been deported. Delhi's Lieutenant Governor set the ball rolling to identification and deportation of many such illegal immigrants, both Bangladeshis and Rohingyas. Police recovered fake Aadhaar cards, PAN cards, multiple bank accounts, even applications for passports based on these fake documents, and most interestingly, at least 5 voter IDs. 4 of these voter IDs that were issued in 2021 are registered in Delhi's Sangam Vihar seat. One was of Badshah Nagar seat in Gurugram.
एक वेबसाइट है jantaPrints.in जहां पे ये लोग 20-20 रुपए में अपने फर्जी डेट ऑफ बर्थ सर्टिफिकेट्स, इनकम सर्टिफिकेट्स बनवा लेते थे. इस टाइप का इनका एक रेट कार्ड था फर्जी वेबसाइट पे, ये कि 7 रुपए में आप कोविड सर्टिफिकेट ले लें या इनकम सर्टिफिकेट ले लें, इस टाइप की इन्होंने कोई वेबसाइट चला रखी थी. एक तो इनका नेक्सस है जो भारत में जंगल के रास्ते ये लोग आते हैं और वहां से ट्रेन से ट्रैवल करके या फिर बसों से ट्रैवल करके ये लोग दिल्ली पहुंचते हैं. हमने साउथ डिस्ट्रिक्ट में जो उसके बाद ड्राइव चलाई, हमारे को सेल्टू शेख के घर से 4 नकली वोटर कार्ड भी मिले थे, 21 आधार कार्ड मिले थे और 6 पैन कार्ड मिले थे. हमने इनकी फर्दर इन्वेस्टिगेशन कर रहे हैं कि किससे कैसे कैसे चीजें बनी हैं. नीचे QR कोड का प्रावधान कर रखा है. QR कोड स्कैन करेंगे तो एक वेबसाइट खुलती है जो कि हूबहू गवर्नमेंट वेबसाइट टाइप लगती है, बट उसका लिंक अलग है. तो लोगों को लगता है कि ऑथेंटिक है, बट ये ऑथेंटिक नहीं है.
Worryingly, Delhi police has not been able to establish whether these people who had been having a voter ID since 2021 participated in 2023 Lok Sabha elections or not. It has not also been estimated how many such Bangladeshis are out there who have procured such voter IDs fraudulently. But with Delhi elections upcoming, the biggest question is, can such fake voters be used for proxy voting? Also, who is behind this nexus of Bangladeshis making them as eligible voters in Delhi or elsewhere in India?
This investigation took the Delhi police 1800 kilometers to the Meghalaya-Bangladesh border. Police found that all these illegals had travelled from Bangladesh to Baghmara into Meghalaya or from areas like Hakimpur in West Bengal with the help of organised gangs active on both sides of the border. In September last year, CNN News 18 tracked down such active rackets to the Indo-Bangladesh border and recorded shocking testimonies that backed the claims of law enforcement agencies.
দালালের মাধ্যমে আসছে, দালাল নিয়ে আসছে নদী পার করে, 17 আসছে.
उनको भेज दूंगा 15,000 बांग्लादेशी टाका देना पड़ेगा, वो तो दुकानदार है.
In their latest investigation, Delhi police have also confirmed that it is agents on both sides of the border that facilitate these Bangladeshis and are well connected to their men in bigger cities like Delhi, Mumbai, Chennai and Kolkata. With elections in Delhi just around the corner, the spotlight is back on this issue. As the threat of illegals raises concerns over security, investigating agencies are working around the clock to find the missing pieces in this jigsaw puzzle.
Greenlam Laminates presents CNN News 18 Primetime Studio.
Good evening, you're watching Brass Tacks with me, Zaka Jacob. We're coming to you live from the CNN News 18 Primetime Studio presented by Greenlam Laminates. The India Alliance, which started off as a political experiment of sorts ahead of the Lok Sabha elections earlier this year, and it met with some limited success in the general election in 2024, today, 6 months on, is in a shambles. The BJP's majority in the general election, of course, the India Alliance can claim, was reduced from 303 to 240. Mr. Modi is now far more dependent on coalition partners than he was in his previous 2 terms, and that the opposition India Alliance can claim some credit to this. But 6 months later, 6 months after that general election, ahead of the upcoming Delhi elections, which is a small state but an important one because it is, after all, the national capital of India, the major constituents, the major non-Congress constituents of the India Alliance, Samajwadi Party, TMC, Sena UBT, the National Conference. These are all some of the most significant partners or building blocks of the India Alliance. They have all come out and supported the Aam Aadmi Party and not the Congress in the upcoming battle for Delhi. Now, part of this is that, the Aam Aadmi Party is the numero uno party in Delhi. It is the ruling party in Delhi. It is expected to perform better than the Congress, certainly. So there's no point these alliance partners backing the Congress, which could end up being in number 3 position as it has over the last 2 or 3 election cycles. So it makes political sense for these partners to back the AAP and not the Congress. But what it does, by backing the Aam Aadmi Party and not the Congress, it calls into question the centrality of the Congress party to the India Alliance. Basically, what all these other parties, SP, TMC, Sena, UBT, National Conference, etc., are saying is that the Congress is not central. It's not the glue that's holding the alliance together. It's not the fulcrum of this India Alliance. The Congress, on the other hand, says, and defensively so, that the India Alliance was meant only for the general election, for the Lok Sabha election.